You probably didn't know that corals are animals, not plants. Corals may look like lifeless stationary organisms, but they are living creatures belonging to the Cnidarian family. They consist of tiny beings called polyps that feed on microscopic plankton. Polyps group together in colonies to form coral reefs, creating one of the most diverse and complex ecosystems on Earth. Despite their simplicity, corals play a crucial role in sustaining marine biodiversity, and their disappearance could alter ocean ecosystems for millennia. How do diamonds form from marine animals? In the depths of the ocean, under immense pressure and temperature, carbon from the remains of ancient marine organisms can turn into diamonds. This process takes millions of years, resulting in some of the rarest diamonds, prized for their unique origins. Scientists believe that some diamonds mined in Africa may have formed from these ancient sea creatures, giving the stones not only beauty, but also a history spanning millions of years. Did you know that medieval winemakers used ton as a measurement? In the Middle Ages, the term ton was a standard unit of measurement used to quantify wine. 1 ton referred to the volume of wine that could fill a large cask. This old unit of measurement was integral to the wine trade across Europe, shaping commerce and trade routes. Today, the term may seem outdated, but its legacy lives on in the language of winemakers and traders, reminding us of how ancient practices have shaped modern traditions. Contrary to everything, dark matter is actually invisible. Dark matter doesn't interact with light, so it cannot be seen directly. However, scientists know about its existence through indirect signs. It affects the rotation speed of galaxies and bends light around them. This mysterious substance makes up more than 80% of the universe's mass, but it remains one of the biggest mysteries of modern space science. Millionaire without a million. How to get rich from scratch. Who would have thought that in today's world you can become a millionaire without a single penny? The term millionaire has long been synonymous with wealth and success. But did you know that there's a phenomenon called a nillionaire, from the word nil, zero? This term describes people who, in reality, don't have a million or any significant capital, but live a lifestyle that suggests high status. This can be connected to borrowed funds, loans, or the creation of an impression of wealth, though there's no real capital behind it. In an age where social media can turn anyone into a star, this phenomenon is becoming increasingly relevant. Who would have thought that you can appear rich without having real wealth? Who would have thought that polar bears have black skin? Yes, beneath their snowy white fur, polar bears actually have black skin. This may seem surprising, but nature designed these animals to have the best possible insulation for surviving in freezing environments. Their black skin helps them absorb more sunlight, while their hollow, transparent fur traps the sun's rays, creating a thermos effect. This incredible adaptation allows polar bears to stay warm in the extreme Arctic cold. Although their fur appears white, it merely reflects the surrounding light, making them almost invisible against the snow and ice. It's fascinating that buildings can be cooled without electricity. There are technologies that allow buildings to stay cool using special insulation and solar reflectors. So-called green roofs are covered with vegetation, creating natural shade and preventing overheating. Additionally, reflective materials are used to bounce sunlight and lower indoor temperatures. In this way, on hot summer days, these buildings remain cool without air conditioners or electricity. How about this? There are road maps for astronauts on the moon. During the Apollo missions, special markings were made on the moon's surface to help astronauts navigate. These markers included lines and even arrows pointing in specific directions. In an environment where horizontal landmarks are not obvious and visibility is limited, these markers were crucial. Although the moon seems empty, these hidden details help future missions avoid getting lost and allow better exploration of Earth's satellite. Hyundai logo. What do the shaking hands hide? Have you ever wondered what the Hyundai logo means? It's not just an H on an oval background. If you look closely, you'll notice that the logo resembles two people shaking hands. This symbol represents Hyundai's commitment to building trusting relationships between the company and its customers. The oval surrounding the letter symbolizes the brand's global ambitions, while the handshake is a sign of successful cooperation. Since its inception, Hyundai has emphasized quality, reliability, and customer satisfaction, and their logo reflects this philosophy. So the next time you see a Hyundai car on the road, remember that the symbol is more than just a logo. It's a story of trust and partnership. Did you know the world's smallest dog weighs just half a kilogram? Meet Millie, a Chihuahua from Puerto Rico, who holds the title of the world's smallest dog. Millie is only 9.65 centimeters tall, or about 3.8 inches, and weighs around 500 grams, just over 1 pound. When she was born in 2011, she was so tiny that she had to be fed through a pipette. Millie has earned her place in the Guinness World Records as the smallest living dog, and her tiny size makes her a true star among dog lovers. Is it true that Iceland has no railways? Iceland really has no railways, despite technological advancements in other countries. The main reason is the geographical features of the country, which consists of volcanic rocks and mountainous terrain, making railway construction extremely difficult and expensive. Additionally, due to the small population, roads are a more convenient mode of transport. So, despite all the progress, you won't find trains there. Can you imagine that computer memory once used magnetic rings? In the early days of computing, memory was made up of tiny magnetic rings through which electrical signals were passed. These rings stored data, and they could be erased by reversing the current. Despite their small size, this technology was groundbreaking and used until microchips were invented. The rings were literally strung on wires, and every bit of memory was worth its weight in gold. How about this? In Turkey, there is an ancient underground city that could hold over 20,000 people. Derinkuyu is one of the largest and most mysterious underground cities in the world. It was built thousands of years ago in Cappadocia and consists of several levels deep underground. For centuries, the city was used as a refuge during wars and raids. It included everything needed for life: living quarters, wineries, churches, ventilation shafts, and even schools. The city was discovered accidentally in 1963, and to this day, archaeologists have not fully explored all of its secrets. Why a day on Venus is longer than its year? Did you know that one day on Venus is longer than an entire Venusian year? Venus rotates around its axis so slowly that it takes about 243 Earth days to complete one rotation. But its year, its orbit around the Sun, lasts only around 225 days. Imagine standing on Venus, watching the Sun rise and set over the course of several months. By the time a Venusian evening arrives, 2 Earth years have passed. This makes Venus one of the most paradoxical planets in our solar system. Did you know that grizzly bears can run faster than horses? Contrary to the belief that bears are clumsy giants, they can reach speeds of over 50 kilometers per hour. That's faster than many horses. Grizzlies have not only powerful muscles, but also incredible agility, making them fearsome predators. Their speed allows them to hunt successfully and protect their territory. So, if you encounter a bear in the wild, don't think you can outrun it. Better to keep a safe distance and admire its power from afar. Is it possible? There's blue fire on volcanoes. On the island of Java, Indonesia, stands the Ijen volcano, famous for its unique natural phenomenon, blue fire. This extraordinary sight is caused by the high concentration of sulfur in volcanic gases, which ignites upon contact with the air, producing a bright blue flame. This blue fire can only be seen at night, creating a breathtaking and almost mystical display. Tourists from all over the world travel here to witness this rare phenomenon that cannot be seen anywhere else. Is it true that you can see kangaroos on the streets in Australia? Absolutely true. In some Australian cities, there are so many kangaroos that they hop around the streets like regular pedestrians. They're especially common in Canberra, where kangaroos even cause traffic jams. Locals are used to this sight, but it's always a surprise for tourists. In these cities, there are even special signs warning drivers about tail-walking pedestrians. It's hard to believe, but there's a city in Italy with no streets. Venice, Italy, is a city without traditional streets. There are only canals, and boats are the primary mode of transportation. Streets, as we know them, simply don't exist. Movement around the city is entirely water-based, making Venice unique among other cities in the world. Tourists travel by gondola or water taxi, enjoying the romantic atmosphere of this city on the water. Venice is one of those rare examples where the city has adapted to the constant presence of water. Did you know that Big Ben is not a clock? Actually, Big Ben is not the name of the clock or the tower, but the bell inside the clock tower. Its full name is the Great Bell of Westminster, but people simply call it Big Ben. It chimes every hour, creating a melody heard by Londoners and visitors alike. It's one of the most recognizable landmarks in the world, and now you know the real story behind the name. Did you know that cats' eyes save lives on roads? Who would have thought that a simple reflective device could save millions of lives? Cat's eye reflectors were invented in 1934 by Percy Shaw, inspired by how car headlights reflected off a cat's eyes in the night. These small reflective elements became an essential part of road markings, helping drivers navigate better at night and in bad weather. Now used worldwide, they are a simple innovation that has dramatically improved road safety, saving thousands of lives. Did you know the creator of the Frisbee had his ashes turned into a Frisbee? After the death of Walter Morrison, the inventor of the Frisbee, his ashes were turned into a Frisbee. This unusual tribute not only kept his spirit alive, but literally made him part of the game he created. It's a reminder that a person's memory can fly on, encouraging us to enjoy every moment of life. Isn't it interesting that hedgehogs can swim? These little spiky creatures don't seem built for water, but they are surprisingly good swimmers. Hedgehogs can not only swim, but also hold their breath underwater. They puff up like little rafts and can cross rivers and lakes if necessary. Although they don't often need to, the ability to swim helps them survive in the wild, proving that even the smallest creatures can be great adventurers. Did you know the Nile is the longest river in the world? The Nile River, which stretches approximately 6,650 kilometers, passes through 11 countries in northeastern Africa. These countries, Burundi, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Egypt, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Kenya, Rwanda, South Sudan, Tanzania, and Uganda, depend on the Nile for their economies, cultures, and ecosystems. The Nile is not only a lifeline for millions of people, but also a witness to ancient history spanning millennia. The inventor of the Super Soaker water gun worked for NASA. Who would have thought that Lonnie Johnson, the creator of the famous Super Soaker water gun, was an engineer at NASA? Johnson worked on developing advanced technologies for space missions, such as the Galileo project to Jupiter. But in his spare time, he developed toys, and one of his ideas became a global hit. The Super Soaker became an iconic water gun that kids around the world played with. This example shows that innovation can come from the most unexpected places, and an engineer's genius can create not only space technology, but also unforgettable childhood moments. Penicillin was discovered by accident, and it saved millions of lives. In 1928, Alexander Fleming returned from vacation to his laboratory and noticed that one of his Petri dishes, infected with bacteria, was covered in mold. He was amazed to find that bacteria were not growing around the mold. This was the beginning of the discovery of penicillin, the world's first antibiotic, which completely transformed medicine and saved countless lives. A chance discovery became one of the greatest breakthroughs in human history. Hard to believe, but it takes 8 minutes for sunlight to reach Earth. The sunlight we see every day actually began its journey from the sun 8 minutes ago. This is because the speed of light is about 300,000 kilometers per second, and the distance from the sun to Earth is approximately 150 million kilometers. So every time you look at the sun, you're seeing its past. This fascinating time delay is one of the most interesting phenomena of cosmic physics. Did you know that 2 to 3% of people don't need deodorant? Yes, it's true. About 2 to 3% of the population has a genetic mutation that prevents the production of unpleasant body odor associated with sweating. These people can engage in sports and physical activity without worrying about body odor. This happens because they lack the necessary bacteria that break down sweat and create unpleasant smells. This discovery sheds light on the diversity of human genetics and how we perceive body odors. Did you know giraffes barely sleep? Giraffes are masters of the power nap. These towering creatures need only about 1 hour and 9 minutes of sleep a day. And even then, they break their sleep into short bursts, perfecting the art of napping. This remarkable adaptation shows how nature can surprise us with its creativity. Imagine how productive humans could be if we only needed 2 hours of sleep per day. Is it really true that goldfish only remember for 3 seconds? Forget that old myth. Goldfish actually have much better memories than we give them credit for. Research has shown that goldfish can remember things like feeding times, recognize their owners, and even navigate through mazes. Their memory is far more sophisticated than the commonly believed 3 seconds, and they can retain information for months. So next time you see your goldfish swimming, know they are much smarter than they seem. Did you know the hummingbird is the smallest bird in the world? The hummingbird, found in Cuba and nearby islands, is the world's smallest bird. The smallest species of hummingbird measures only 5 centimeters in length and weighs around 2 grams. But don't let its size fool you. This tiny bird is a real powerhouse. It can beat its wings up to 200 times per second, making it one of the fastest creatures in nature. This incredible little wonder can hover in place, feeding on flower nectar. How about this? In Italy, there is a museum filled with objects found at the bottom of canals. In Venice, there is a museum where exhibits are collected from the bottom of the famous canals. Among the items on display, you can find ancient coins, musical instruments, luxury goods, and even cars. This museum tells the city's history through lost and forgotten objects, many of which lay underwater for centuries. Venice, with its labyrinth of canals, has always been a mysterious city, and these underwater discoveries reveal even more secrets of this ancient place. Can you believe that 3% of Antarctica's ice is penguin urine? It may sound strange, but it's true. Scientists have determined that about 3% of Antarctic ice is made up of penguin urine. In the extreme cold of Antarctica, urine doesn't evaporate as it would in warmer climates. Instead, it remains on the surface and eventually freezes, becoming part of the ice. This unusual fact shows just how unique this continent is and how its natural conditions create truly unexpected phenomena. How about this? Dubai is building skyscrapers that rotate. In Dubai, they are designing skyscrapers that will slowly rotate around their own axis, changing the view from the windows. The idea is that residents can enjoy a new view every day, with sunlight evenly illuminating the building. With such innovations, Dubai remains at the forefront of architectural thinking, creating structures that are not only beautiful, but practical for use in hot climates. Infinite combinations, a deck of cards, and the vastness of the universe. The number of ways to shuffle a standard 52-card deck is mind-blowing. This figure is known as the factorial of 52 and equals a number with 60 zeros. This means that every time you shuffle a deck, you are likely creating a combination that has never existed before and will never be repeated. So next time you play cards, remember, you have a whole universe of possibilities in your hands. Who would have thought that electricity could be transmitted through the air? Scientists are already developing wireless energy transmission technologies. The basic principle is transmitting power using magnetic fields or lasers. In the future, charging mobile devices or even cars could happen without wires. This will change how we think about electronics and transportation. Tesla dreamed of wireless power back in the early 20th century, and now his ideas are becoming a reality. Coca-Cola and its secret ingredients. The name Coca-Cola comes from two of its original ingredients, coca leaves and cola nuts, which were used to give the drink its distinctive taste and effects. The coca leaves provided a mild stimulant, while the cola nuts added caffeine. Today, the exact formula of Coca-Cola remains a closely guarded secret. Despite changes to the recipe, the story behind its creation and the brand's mystique continue to fascinate people around the world. Did you know that monarch butterflies undertake one of the longest migrations on Earth? These amazing insects travel thousands of kilometers each year, migrating from Mexico to the United States and Canada. What's even more incredible is that this journey takes place over several generations. Monarch butterflies begin their migration, lay eggs, and the next generation continues the journey. This incredible relay across generations transforms their migration into a dance that transcends borders, a true wonder of nature. Did you know the first alarm clock could only ring at one time? Imagine an alarm clock that only rings at 4 in the morning. That's exactly what the first alarm clock was like, invented by Levi Hutchins in 1787. This primitive, but at the time innovative device was designed solely for Hutchins' personal use. It didn't allow the user to choose a time, but it guaranteed an early rise. After all, 4 a.m. leaves no room for just 5 more minutes. Nonetheless, this invention was the forerunner of the modern alarm clocks we now wrestle with every morning. Did you know there is no concept of sound in space? The vacuum of space does not transmit sound waves because there are no molecules to carry them. This means that explosions or loud events in space, like in sci-fi movies, would actually be silent. If you found yourself in open space, you'd see flashes and movements, but you'd hear absolutely nothing. So space isn't just dark, it's also eerily quiet. Imagine a flight that lasts only 53 seconds. The shortest commercial flight in the world connects two Scottish islands, Westray and Papa Westray. This flight covers just 1.5 miles and lasts less than a minute, only 53 seconds. By the time you buckle your seatbelt, the plane is already preparing to land. It's probably the quickest and shortest way to travel that you can imagine. If you ever find yourself on this flight, you won't even notice it start and finish. Did you know that there are fish that can live without water? The climbing perch can leave the water and crawl on land for several days. This fish has the unique ability to absorb oxygen directly from the air and even walk using its fins. Thanks to a special structure in its gills, it can breathe atmospheric air. It uses its strong tail to move across the ground, almost like a small lizard. Why does Sweden have one of the strangest museums in the world? In Stockholm, there is the Museum of Failure, where you can find exhibits of failed inventions, products and services that did not meet expectations. For example, you can see Coca-Cola with a coffee flavor, strange household gadgets, and even video games that flopped. The creators of the museum believe that we learn from mistakes and that failure is an essential part of any discovery. Visitors often marvel at how bizarre some ideas can be and how far people go in their pursuit of innovation. This museum has become a place where you can laugh at the past and rethink what success means. Did you know the term internet was first used in 1974? We all know the internet is an essential part of modern life, but did you know the first mention of the word was in 1974? At that time, internet was used to describe a global network of interconnected computer systems. Back then, it was a novelty, but by the end of the 20th century, the internet became a revolutionary technology that changed the world. Today, billions of people are connected online, and the internet has become not just a communication tool, but also a key platform for business, science, and education. The invention of the sandwich, the story behind the snack. John Montagu, the 4th Earl of Sandwich, invented the sandwich as a convenient snack to eat while playing cards. Not wanting to leave the table, he asked his servant to bring him meat between 2 slices of bread. Thus, the sandwich was born, a perfect snack for multitaskers and gamblers alike. So, the next time you enjoy a sandwich, remember that it's more than just a meal. It's a historic snack born from the gaming table. Radioactive bananas. Yes, it's true. Did you know that bananas are radioactive? Yes, your favorite fruit contains a small amount of the radioactive isotope potassium-40. But don't worry, you would have to eat a huge number of bananas at once to be harmed by radiation. This natural radioactivity poses no health risk, but it does make bananas an interesting example of how nature can surprise us with unexpected properties. So the next time you enjoy a banana, you can impress your friends with this surprising fact. Elephants fear bees, and that saves farms. Elephants are giants of the savannah, but there's something tiny that makes them run away. Bees. African farmers discovered that elephants are terrified of these buzzing insects. Using this fear, they started setting up beehives along the borders of their fields. These beehive fences create a natural bee barrier, and elephants, hearing the buzzing, avoid these areas to avoid painful stings. This ingenious solution helps farmers protect their crops from being trampled, maintaining a peaceful coexistence with these majestic animals without resorting to violence. Nature truly is the best ally. Why does Japan have an island inhabited only by rabbits? On Okunoshima, known as Rabbit Island, hundreds of fluffy bunnies roam freely, feeling like the rightful rulers of the place. Originally, rabbits were brought here for scientific experiments during World War II. After the war ended, they were released, and their population grew rapidly. Now, tourists from all over the world come to play and feed these friendly animals. Cats and dogs are prohibited on the island to protect the rabbit population, turning it into a true paradise for animal lovers. Did you know that koalas have fingerprints just like humans? Yes, these fluffy Australian creatures have fingerprints that are almost identical to those of humans. Their intricate and unique patterns are so similar that if a koala left a print at a crime scene, it could be mistaken for a human's. This surprising similarity adds to their charm, making them even more fascinating. Nature never ceases to amaze, creating such unexpected similarities between species. Imagine koalas as little detectives, leaving their own unique traces in the eucalyptus forests. Astronauts don't float in zero gravity like we think. Many people believe that astronauts experience total weightlessness in space, but that's a common misconception. In reality, they are constantly falling toward Earth, but at such a high speed that they never crash into it. This continuous fall gives them the feeling of being weightless, a fantastic example of how the laws of physics turn space into a magical realm of floating. Did you know that laughter is good for your heart? Laughter is not just a way to lift your mood, but also a great way to keep your heart healthy. Scientists have proven that laughter improves circulation, helps blood vessels expand, and reduces stress levels. It's like a natural medicine that helps your heart work better and longer. So next time you laugh, remember, you're not just improving your mood, but also giving your heart a great gift. Laughter really is the best medicine. Did you know Venus spins backwards? Unlike most planets in our solar system, Venus rotates in the opposite direction, meaning the sun rises in the west and sets in the east. Scientists are still unsure what caused this bizarre behavior, but one theory suggests that Venus may have collided with a massive asteroid long ago, altering its axis. And here's another mind-blowing fact. A day on Venus is actually longer than its year. Why does Patagonia have a lake that completely disappears every year? Lake Capri in Patagonia is a true natural wonder. Each summer, its waters vanish as if by magic. Scientists believe that the water drains into underground tunnels that open during the summer, and then the lake refills in the winter. This makes Lake Capri one of Patagonia's most mysterious attractions, drawing tourists and researchers who try to unravel the secrets of its disappearance. Can cockroaches survive a nuclear explosion? Cockroaches have long earned a reputation as super survivors, capable of withstanding even the most extreme conditions, including high levels of radiation. But is it true that they can survive a nuclear explosion? In reality, cockroaches can indeed survive radiation exposure, but there are creatures far better adapted to this, like certain types of fungi and microbes. Nevertheless, cockroaches remain a symbol of resilience, able to survive conditions that would kill most other living creatures. Can you imagine your blood vessels could wrap around the Earth twice? Have you ever wondered how complex the human circulatory system is? If you laid out all the blood vessels in your body end to end, they would stretch about 96,000 kilometers, enough to wrap around the Earth twice. This intricate network of arteries, veins, and capillaries is vital for transporting blood, oxygen, and nutrients to every part of your body. This amazing feat of nature highlights just how complex and beautifully designed our bodies are. Now that you know this fact, you can marvel even more at how your body works. Why do you think giraffes have black tongues? Giraffes have tongues nearly 1/2 meter long, and they're not just black, they're blue-black. This unique color isn't random, it protects them from the sun. Giraffes spend hours each day stripping leaves from tall trees under the hot sun. The dark color acts like a natural sunscreen, preventing sunburn. This amazing adaptation lets giraffes spend all the time they need in the sun without worry. Nature thought of everything. Did you know that the Kuwaiti Dinar is the most valuable currency in the world? The Kuwaiti Dinar, KWD, holds the title as the highest valued currency in the world. Despite Kuwait not having the largest economy, its currency's unique exchange rate gives it incredible worth. One Kuwaiti dinar is equivalent to about $3.30, making it one of the most valuable currencies globally. This means that even a small amount of Kuwaiti dinars can be worth a lot when exchanged for other currencies. Hard to believe, but there's no letter A in numbers from 1 to 1,000. It's true. If you start counting from 1 to 999, you won't find the letter A in any of the numbers. The letter A only appears in the word 1,000. This fun observation shows just how unique the English language is and how unexpected patterns can be hidden within it. Sometimes these small details make us look at familiar things in a new way. Did you know that frogs can retract their eyes to swallow food? Some species of frogs have an incredible ability to help them swallow their prey. They retract their eyes into their heads. When a frog catches an insect or small prey, its eyes sink deep into its skull, creating pressure that pushes the food down its throat. It's a strange yet fascinating spectacle in the world of amphibians. Frogs have evolved amazing adaptations that allow them to survive in various environments, and this is just one of the many unique features of their anatomy. Why do people love talking about themselves? Studies show that people spend about 60% of their conversation time talking about themselves, and on social media, this number goes up to 80%. This is because people enjoy sharing their thoughts, experiences, and personal stories. Especially in the age of social media, these platforms have become spaces for self-expression and connection. This fact provides an intriguing insight into human nature, the desire for communication and recognition. Believe it or not, colorblind people live full, vibrant lives. Color blindness is a condition where some people have difficulty distinguishing certain colors, with red and green being the most common. However, people with color blindness have adapted by using patterns, memory, and modern technology, such as color filters for screens and specialized glasses. These innovations help colorblind individuals lead full lives and express themselves uniquely. Despite the challenges, colorblind people overcome these obstacles with resilience and creativity, proving that life is as vibrant as they make it. Is it possible that giraffes only sleep 30 minutes a day? These incredible animals can survive on minimal sleep. Giraffes sleep for only about 30 minutes a day, and they even do it standing up. They have a special mechanism that allows them to rest in short intervals of a few minutes to avoid predators. With such long legs, they can quickly spot approaching danger. It turns out the world's smallest reptile is the size of a fingertip. The world's smallest reptile is the leaf chameleon, native to Madagascar. This tiny creature measures only 29 millimeters from nose to tail, smaller than a fingertip. Despite its minuscule size, male leaf chameleons boast bright green and orange patterns, while the females have elegant shades of brown and beige. Discovered in 2012, this remarkable species continues to amaze scientists with its tiny yet colorful existence. Eyes bigger than the brain, the amazing anatomy of ostriches. As strange as it may seem, ostriches have eyes bigger than their brains. These huge birds have the largest eyes of any land animal, with a diameter of up to 5 centimeters. But despite this, their brain is relatively small. However, thanks to their large eyes, ostriches can see far distances and detect danger long before it gets close. What incredible creatures ostriches are! Large eyes but a small brain that still manages to perform all the necessary functions. Is it true that time flows differently in space? Yes, and it's due to Einstein's theory of relativity. The faster you move, or the closer you are to an object with a strong gravitational field, the slower time passes for you relative to the rest of the universe. Astronauts aboard the International Space Station literally age more slowly because they're moving at high speeds. This phenomenon is called gravitational time dilation. Why did ancient Romans wear togas? The toga was a symbol of Roman civic authority and status. Only free men could wear it, and putting it on incorrectly was considered shameful. But it wasn't just about fashion. The toga was highly impractical and required constant adjusting, signifying that its wearer was above manual labor. Plus, it was so hot and uncomfortable that Romans only wore it on special occasions. Who would have thought ancient fashion could be so complicated and impractical? Why don't newborns cry tears? Newborn babies can cry, but they don't shed tears. How is that possible? Their tear glands are not fully developed. In fact, it can take several weeks for newborns to start crying with tears. So while babies can loudly express their dissatisfaction, you won't see real tears until some time after birth. This is one of the little wonders that happen in the first weeks of a baby's life. Elephants can mourn and grieve their lost ones. When a member of their herd dies, elephants display deep empathy and support. The others gather around the body, gently touching it with their trunks as if saying goodbye. Some even cover the body with branches or leaves and later return to the spot as if visiting a grave. This behavior shows just how connected elephants are and how deeply they can experience emotions. It's a reminder that understanding loss and respecting the departed is not just a human trait. Jellyfish, ancient survivors of 5 mass extinctions. Can you believe that jellyfish have existed on our planet for more than 600 million years and have survived 5 mass extinctions? These ancient creatures started their existence long before the dinosaurs and have adapted to the most extreme changes in climate and environment. They have no brains, hearts, or bones, yet they continue to thrive due to their ability to adapt and survive under any conditions. Jellyfish are considered some of the oldest living organisms on Earth, and they continue to amaze scientists with their unique biology. Imagine how incredible nature is, given that these creatures have endured millions of years of evolution. Did you know the largest living organism on Earth is a mushroom? The honey fungus, also known as the giant mushroom, covers an astonishing 2,385 acres in the Malheur National Forest in Oregon, USA. This fungus forms a massive underground network of mycelium, which is the vegetative part of the fungus that spreads beneath the soil. The mycelium isn't visible to the naked eye, but it is responsible for the mushrooms that appear above the ground. Can you imagine one organism covering such a vast area? It's a true wonder of nature that few people know about. Caffeine, energy or illusion? Caffeine is the most popular psychoactive substance in the world, but it doesn't actually give you energy. Instead, it blocks adenosine receptors in the brain, preventing them from signaling tiredness. It's a kind of trick that makes your brain feel alert and awake. What's even more fascinating is that caffeine's molecular structure is very similar to that of adenosine, allowing it to take the place of this neurotransmitter. This clever process helps us wake up in the morning and stay alert throughout the day. Now imagine, it's all just a game of chemistry. How would you react if I told you there's a building that's built inside out? In Dubai, one of the most unique skyscrapers in the world is Cayenne Tower. This 73-story skyscraper is twisted 90 degrees along its vertical axis. This gives it a distinctive architectural and engineering design. It creates the impression that the building is twisted like a giant spiral. It symbolizes an innovative approach to construction and has become one of the city's main attractions. Can you imagine that Cleopatra, the famous Queen of Egypt, wasn't Egyptian by birth? Cleopatra VII, the last ruler of ancient Egypt, was born into the Ptolemaic dynasty, which was of Macedonian and Greek descent. She was the first in her family to learn the Egyptian language and adopt local customs, making her a unique figure in history. This queen, who blended cultures and identities, seems to have stepped right out of legend, connecting ancient civilizations and shaping her own remarkable story. Have you ever wondered where the word okay came from? Can you imagine that one of the most popular words in the world came from a simple joke? In 1839, in Boston, the phrase "all correct" was intentionally misspelled as "all correct" in a humorous newspaper article. This abbreviation, shortened to OK, quickly became common in everyday language. Since then, OK has become universal, understood in almost every corner of the world. It signifies agreement, affirmation, or just a friendly gesture. From humble beginnings to global spread, OK proves that even a joke can become a linguistic phenomenon. Now, when you use this word, you can remember its amusing origins. Can you imagine a shoe the size of a car? In 2015, an Indian shoemaking company crafted the world's largest shoe, measuring a whopping 6.4 meters in length and almost 3 meters in height. This colossal shoe is the equivalent of a US size 2090 and was made from leather, rubber, and foam. It's hard to imagine anyone wearing it, but it's certainly a record-breaking feat of craftsmanship. Did you know that lightning is hotter than the sun? The temperature of lightning can reach up to 30,000 degrees Celsius, which is 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun. This incredible natural phenomenon is one of the most powerful forces on Earth. When lightning strikes, it releases an enormous amount of energy in just a few milliseconds, heating the air around it to extreme temperatures. Lightning is truly nature's own flamethrower, bringing intense heat with every flash. The world's shiniest fruit. Meet the African pollia. Believe it or not, the shiniest living organism on Earth is not a gemstone or an exotic animal, but the African fruit Pollia condensata. This vibrant blue fruit with an iridescent sheen has a unique ability to reflect light. Its outer surface reflects light so intensely that it appears to glow from within. Scientists are studying this phenomenon to better understand how such a structure can be created in nature. This fruit has become a true mystery for botanists because its glow is caused by microscopic cell structures that reflect light like diamonds. No wonder it's considered one of the shiniest things on Earth. How would you react if you knew that in Japan, buildings are made of paper? In Japan, they are developing innovative buildings made from recycled paper. This material is used for temporary structures such as pavilions or exhibition centers. The paper walls are treated with special substances that make them resistant to rain and fire. This is an example of how modern technologies allow for the construction of eco-friendly buildings that are easy to dismantle and recycle, leaving no harm to the environment. Did you know that Alfred Hitchcock was terrified of eggs? Alfred Hitchcock, the master of suspense, terrified millions with his cinematic genius. But he had a peculiar fear himself. He was scared of eggs. Hitchcock admitted that just seeing a cracked egg filled him with dread. For a man who created films that left audiences on the edge of their seats, this phobia seems completely paradoxical. How could someone who made us fear shower curtains and shadows be afraid of something as ordinary as an egg? It's one of the more surprising secrets of the great master of horror. Why are trees in Poland mysteriously bent? In the Crooked Forest, near the village of Gryfino in Poland, there are trees with mysterious curved trunks. Their bend begins almost at the roots, and the trees grow at an angle before straightening up. The exact reasons for this bend are unknown, and there are many theories, from human intervention to natural anomalies. The Crooked Forest has become a popular tourist destination, drawing travelers eager to solve this natural mystery. Sharks can smell a drop of blood from miles away. Sharks have one of the most impressive senses of smell in the animal kingdom. They can detect blood in a ratio of 1 part per million of water, allowing them to track their prey from great distances. This ability makes sharks some of the most dangerous predators in the ocean. Their olfactory system is so developed that they can detect even the slightest changes in the chemical composition of water. Sharks not only track prey, but can also avoid potential threats, making them true masters of survival. This incredible sense of smell enables them to hunt effectively, even in the deepest, darkest waters. So if you find yourself in the ocean with a cut, beware. A shark could sense it from miles away. The Babylonian lottery. Fate decides dinner. Imagine your dinner invitation being decided by a lottery. In ancient Babylon, there was a lottery where fate literally determined who would attend the feast. This method of selecting banquet guests added an element of randomness and unpredictability to social life. Fate played a decisive role in who would be at the dinner table. This ancient custom shows just how much in life can depend on chance, especially when it comes to something as delightful as dinner. Why are days on Earth getting longer? Due to the gravitational interaction between Earth and the Moon, our planet's rotation is gradually slowing down. This phenomenon, known as tidal friction, causes our days to lengthen by about 1.7 milliseconds every century. In the future, our days will be even longer, and we may need to rethink how we measure time. Imagine a snooze button with extra time becoming a necessity millions of years from now. Did you know that some mushrooms can glow in the dark? Certain types of mushrooms have a magical ability to glow in the dark, creating a mystical forest scene. This phenomenon is called bioluminescence. When walking through the woods at night, some mushrooms emit a soft, mysterious glow, turning the forest floor into a fairy tale. This glow attracts insects, helping the mushrooms spread their spores, making them not only beautiful, but functional. Bioluminescent mushrooms are yet another example of nature's wonders. Is it really possible that in Spain there is an underground city without a single house above ground? In the town of Setenil de las Bodegas, Spain, people live directly under the rocks, with their homes built into caves hidden beneath the earth. This town has existed for hundreds of years, and its streets are literally covered with giant rock slabs, creating the feeling of an underground world. The rock houses protect residents from summer heat and winter cold. Setenil de las Bodegas is so unique that tourists from all over the world come to see how life can exist in such a hidden and mysterious place. There is a white giraffe in the world, and it's not a fairy tale. In Africa, a unique white giraffe was discovered, suffering from a rare genetic condition known as leucism. Unlike albinism, leucism allows the giraffe to retain pigment in its eyes, but its skin lacks color. This rare giraffe has become a subject of intense focus and was even equipped with a special tracker to protect it from poachers. Its snow-white color makes it vulnerable, but also a unique creature in the wild. Vultures and their cooling trick. Vultures have a unique way to stay cool in hot weather. Since they can't sweat, they've developed an alternative method. They poop on their own legs. The water in their droppings evaporates, cooling their skin. This process is called urohydrosis, and it also helps to sterilize their legs after coming into contact with decaying food. So, if you ever see a vulture with white streaks on its legs, know that it's not just dirt. It's a clever way to beat the heat and keep clean. Nature certainly has its own surprises. It turns out that icebergs have colorful stripes. Depending on the composition and conditions of formation, icebergs can be striped in green, blue, yellow, or even black. Green stripes are formed due to algae, blue due to dense ice, and yellow and brown due to iron presence. These colorful stripes are only visible in bright sunlight, making them even more mysterious and rare natural phenomena. Believe it or not, birds can talk. Many species of parrots can mimic human speech, but not because they understand words. They memorize the sounds and rhythms they hear and repeat them with surprising accuracy. Moreover, some parrots can remember and reproduce dozens of phrases and even sing tunes. This ability has made them popular as pets, as they can mimic entire sentences from their owners, adding funny and sometimes unexpected elements to conversations. Did you know that squirrels can cause power outages? It turns out that cute, fluffy squirrels can cause significant damage to the power grid. In the United States, about 10 to 20% of all power outages happen because squirrels accidentally come into contact with wires and electrical equipment. These little mischief makers love climbing power lines, sometimes touching dangerous parts of the equipment. This leads to short circuits and outages that can affect entire cities. Who would have thought that such innocent-looking creatures could cause serious energy problems? Next time you see a squirrel on a tree, think about its potential as a saboteur. Did you know Mandarin is the most spoken language in the world? Mandarin Chinese is not only one of the oldest languages on the planet, but also the most spoken, with over 918 million speakers. That's about 12% of the global population. Mandarin is the official language of China, Taiwan, and one of the official languages of Singapore. Interestingly, Mandarin is a tonal language, which means that the same word can have different meanings depending on the tone used. Imagine this. The word ma can mean mother, horse, scold, or hemp, depending on how you say it. This makes Mandarin one of the most challenging yet fascinating languages to learn. The Eiffel Tower grows in summer. Every year, when summer hits Paris, the Eiffel Tower undergoes a little growth spurt. Its height can increase by a few centimeters due to the thermal expansion of iron. As temperatures rise, the metal expands, making the tower stretch upwards as if waking up from a winter slumber. This phenomenon shows how even majestic and sturdy structures like the Eiffel Tower are influenced by nature. And when summer ends and temperatures drop, the tower shrinks back to its usual height. It's a reminder that architecture and nature are always dancing together in harmony. Can you imagine that in Colorado, there's a town where it's illegal to die? In the town of Nederland, Colorado, there's a strange and even absurd law. You can't die in the town. This law stems from a local history involving attempts to preserve a man's body in a frozen state. Now the town has declared itself a territory for immortals, and locals jokingly claim that they're simply not allowed to die. Of course, the law isn't enforceable, but many people visit Nederland to laugh at this odd tradition and learn about the story of the frozen eternal resident. Believe it or not, rats can laugh. Yes, you heard that right. Rats can laugh. Scientists have discovered that these cute rodents emit ultrasonic giggles when tickled. While humans can't hear these sounds, the rat's laughter has been recorded with special equipment and proved that rats can experience pleasure. This fact opens a new dimension in the study of animals' emotional worlds. Imagine, rats not only run through mazes, but also have fun, just like we do. Who would have thought that rats could be so funny and emotionally responsive creatures? Did you know that animals can be allergic to humans? Believe it or not, allergies aren't just a human problem. Animals can suffer from them too. Some pets can develop allergies to human dander, just like we can be allergic to animal fur. This can cause symptoms such as breathing difficulties and skin irritation, much like the allergic reactions we experience. It's a surprising reminder that allergies don't discriminate between species, and even our beloved furry friends can be sensitive to us. Who would have thought the world's smallest fish is less than 1 centimeter long? The world's smallest fish, Pedoscyprus progenetica, found in the waters of Indonesia, measures only 7.9 millimeters in length, less than 1/3 of an inch. Weighing just 0.004 of a gram, this transparent fish has no scales or teeth. It lives in peat swamps and feeds on plankton. Despite its tiny size, this fish faces significant threats from habitat loss and pollution, proving that even the smallest creatures play a vital role in the ecosystem. Galileo didn't invent the telescope. Many people believe that Galileo Galilei invented the telescope, but in reality, he improved upon an existing design. The first telescope was actually created by a Dutch spectacle maker named Hans Lippershey in 1608. Galileo made enhancements to this design and used the telescope for astronomical observations, discovering phenomena such as lunar mountains and Jupiter's moons. His contributions to science are invaluable, but it's important to remember that great discoveries often build upon the work of those who came before. Why do fawns have no scent? When fawns are born, they have no scent. This adaptation helps them remain unnoticed by nearby predators like wolves and bears. This allows young deer to lie hidden in the grass, undetected due to their invisible presence. The mother deer returns only to feed them and then leaves again, avoiding drawing attention to her offspring. This survival strategy makes fawns true masters of camouflage in the wild. Why is the sky blue? The answer lies in science. Have you ever wondered why the sky appears so bright blue? This phenomenon is explained by the scattering of sunlight in the atmosphere. As sunlight passes through the Earth's atmosphere, it collides with gas molecules and scatters in all directions. Blue light has shorter wavelengths, so it scatters more than other colors. This is what makes the sky appear blue to us. It's one of those natural wonders that surround us every day, but are often taken for granted. Did you know the world's largest crossword puzzle has over 66,000 squares? In 2015, Japanese puzzle master Nomio created the world's largest crossword puzzle. This gigantic puzzle boasts 66,666 clues and 93,700 squares. It took 4 years to complete and was displayed in a Japanese shopping mall. Today, it's preserved in a book form, giving puzzle lovers a chance to marvel at this monumental brain teaser. Ancient Roman firefighters and their unusual tactics. In ancient Rome, firefighting wasn't just about saving lives. It was a business. When a fire broke out, firefighters would rush to the scene, but they would only put out the flames if the property owner agreed on a price. This strange combination of urgency and negotiation shows just how different firefighting was back then compared to today. Back in those days, saving a building from flames required both money and quick decisions. Did you know the African elephant is the largest land animal on Earth? African elephants are true giants. These majestic creatures can weigh up to 14,000 pounds, about 6,350 kilograms. That's like a small car on 4 legs. These gentle giants are a symbol of nature's greatness, and their size is awe-inspiring. Surprisingly, ancient mirrors were actually dangerous. Early mirrors were made from metals like copper or bronze, which could create blinding reflections and even accidental fires. In Roman times, convex mirrors that concentrated sunlight were popular, much like magnifying glasses. This made them both dangerous and expensive, accessible only to the wealthiest. Modern mirrors are safe, but ancient ones still hold a bit of magic and danger within them. Can you imagine that the world's oldest color is pink? In 2018, scientists discovered the oldest known color on Earth, and it's pink. Extracted from billion-year-old rocks in the Sahara Desert, this pink pigment was created by ancient ocean-dwelling bacteria. These bacteria lived long before animals existed, making pink the oldest biological color. The discovery adds a colorful twist to our understanding of life's early history. How about this? The discovery of DNA changed science forever. In 1953, scientists James Watson and Francis Crick made a revolutionary discovery when they presented the structure of DNA. This monumental achievement revealed the double helix structure of DNA, the very building block of life. Their discovery unlocked the secrets of heredity and laid the foundation for countless advances in genetics and medicine. It forever changed our understanding of life itself, paving the way for genetic therapies and innovations we use today. What if I told you that you can boil water just by shaking it? Yes, it's true, although practically impossible to do. If you shake a container of water fast and hard enough, you can create friction, which will raise the water's temperature. Theoretically, if you shake it quickly enough, you could even bring the water to a boil. This unusual physics experiment shows how mechanical energy can be converted into heat. While you won't be making tea this way, the mere possibility that shaking could boil water is astonishing. Turns out there are bridges that speak. In some places, such as the Millennium Bridge in London, special plates emit sounds when people walk on them. These sounds are designed to resemble whispers or voices, creating a unique atmosphere. Especially at night, such a bridge becomes a real attraction, drawing tourists with its mystical sounds. The deadliest earthquake in history. The deadliest earthquake ever recorded struck Shanxi Province, China, on January 23, 1556. This earthquake had a magnitude of about 8 and claimed the lives of more than 800,000 people, causing massive destruction over a vast area. In the aftermath of this catastrophe, the region's approach to construction changed dramatically, leading to improvements in building practices and earthquake resistance. This tragic event reminds us of how nature can drastically alter the fate of entire populations. Can you imagine that the total weight of all ants on Earth equals the weight of all humans? Despite their tiny size, ants are among the most numerous creatures on the planet. The total weight of all ants on Earth is equal to the weight of all humans. This astonishing fact highlights just how numerous these small workers are. Ants live in every corner of the planet, and their contribution to ecosystems is incredibly important. It's another example of how nature surprises us with its unexpected scales. Who would have thought that ants are such heavyweights in the natural world? Did you know there is a musical record left on the moon? In 1971, during the Apollo 15 mission, a music record was left on the moon with recordings of earthly artists. This record, featuring songs from the Beatles and others, became a symbol of peace and humanity. Today, it remains there as a message for future generations or even aliens who might find it and hear the sounds of our planet. Did you know that dark forms of oxygen can appear at the ocean floor? Scientists have discovered an amazing phenomenon, the so-called dark oxygen. Typically, we know that oxygen is produced by plants through photosynthesis with the help of sunlight. However, minerals found on the ocean floor can generate oxygen without sunlight. This discovery shocked the scientific community, as it was previously thought that oxygen on Earth only came from living organisms. Research has shown that rocks on the seabed, through a process called electrolysis of seawater, can split it into oxygen and hydrogen. This changes our understanding of oxygen generation on the planet.